Am I the a-hole for grossly humiliating my boyfriend in front of his whole family after he engagement pranked me? My now ex-boyfriend Keith, male 38, and I, female 40, had problems because of his constant pranks. He has a thing for making his targets look ridiculous. I warned him many times that I'm not a forgiving person and that he was undermining my trust. He laughed it off, and I kept giving him chances because he has redeeming qualities. He's funny without pranks, acts as a good listener, and generally shows me deference. However, these traits began to fade away, and I don't know why. It kind of shifted. I don't know if showing him love made him think that he could do this. We never had fights, although we had disagreements, and I tended to clam up if I was really hurt. This happened twice. The first time was very out of the blue. We attended a gala hosted by our city council. I'm using the quotes gala because this isn't in a huge city. Galas are looked forward to, but are not the high-class, upper-class, inaccessible type. He liked the way that they treated us. I was the actual guest and he was my +1. And he asked me if I could help him get an interview, as he wanted to launch his small business and maybe they would be interested. I made no promises, but got him a meeting that I attended along with him. On our way back, we stopped at a deli and ran into my ex, with whom I'm cordial. Keith was enraged because I answered my ex's greeting and said that I was too friendly and that it was disrespectful. That lasted for about 10 minutes. We sat at my place to eat our takeout, and he immediately said very inappropriate things about my best friend. I immediately called him out for trying to make me jealous. He laughed at first, but when I asked what was funny, he left and took his food. We talked about it later, but a few days afterward, I realized that he never properly apologized. Second, he criticized my outfit and said that I looked ridiculous in it. I should have dumped him right then, but chose to put it in the back of my mind because I already had a lot on my plate, career and family-wise. I also held out hope that we could go back to the way things used to be. I was never able to shake off that feeling of being hurt, although we seem to have reached a very stable phase after that. Then he started with his pranking ways again. First, I caught him trying to hide the birthday cake that I got for my friend. Then, he hit the gas pedal a few times when I was about to get in his car. Last week, we were at his mother's house for his birthday party. Everything felt pretty normal until everyone got really quiet. It was just weird. I looked at him, and he immediately took a knee. This was the worst feeling. First of all, we had not reached a stage leading to an engagement. Second, I thought it was likely a prank, but I didn't know how to react. I don't know if he told everyone that he was about to propose, and they were quiet in honest anticipation, or if they knew, or maybe some of them knew. If he was being honest, I wouldn't want to say no in front of his family, so I would have probably had to say yes and then say no in private. If it was a prank, then he would have humiliated me in front of over 20 people. So what I did was ask what he was doing, and he said I was seeing him and that I knew. I said no, I didn't know. So he insisted. I said, all right, and asked to see what was in the box, and that I would react accordingly. The fact that he looked off, maybe realizing that he had messed up, maybe wanting to double down, but I'll never know, was a huge red flag. He opened the box and he had a beer can tab in it. I told him off right then. I said that he took a knee to present junk, just like he tried to suck up to people to get them to sign up for his tacky, insignificant LLC so that he could push his trash services that he hardly knows how to do. I also mentioned how he lost his job twice and said I fully understand why he couldn't afford a real ring. I asked him if he honestly saw me marrying a man-child. His family was offended. Some of them looked uncomfortable, but some of them acted like I went overboard. He tried to apologize, but I told him to stick it up his butt and that we were done. Needless to say, it was a crap show. I had no exit plan because I didn't know that I would have to walk out, and I didn't have my car. So I had to walk with his cousins following me and convincing me that he didn't mean to hurt me and that it was dangerous to walk home alone. I had to walk about 30 minutes until I found an available Uber. I made a Facebook post explaining why I did what I did and that I couldn't see my future self with a scumbag. His brother's girlfriend and I have a good relationship. I find her to be very honest and reasonable. She reached out to check how I was doing and to let me know that neither she nor her boyfriend had anything to do with it and that I was right to be mad. But she also said that while she has never gotten along with Keith, this is true, ousting him as a workforce failure in front of his family was too much, and that his family was thrown off. I asked what she thought I should do since I'm not going to do anything to make him feel better, and that's that. And if he ever tries to contact me, I will make sure things get even more painful, if that's even how he feels. To be honest, I'm embarrassed. I stood up for myself, but I guess I went overboard, and maybe I should have just turned around and walked away. Was I extra for this? Now for the top comments. Why do you feel embarrassed? He wanted to embarrass you in front of his whole family. Who makes a prank with a marriage proposal like that? Yes, only a man-child would do this. Seriously, all you did was tell the truth about him. If the truth upsets them that much, maybe they should be looking at why he's such a useless bum and questioning if maybe his constant pranks and crap are a sign of a bigger maturity problem. A 38-year-old man-baby who doesn't understand that pranks are only pranks if everyone laughs. Otherwise, it's bullying. Good riddance, I say. Who makes a prank with a marriage proposal like that? An abuser. Ever notice how all these people who prank are just emotionally and physically abusing their partners? Not the a-hole. He seems like a guy who likes to draw attention to himself at the cost of others. I should congratulate you, really, for finally letting him taste some of his own medicine. Sounds like it was less of a proposal and more of a prank posal. Sorry you had to go through that, but at least you got a good story out of it. Also, don't worry about what others think. You were completely justified in calling him out on his immature behavior. Breaking up with him was long overdue. Next story. Am I the a-hole for having my mother yell at me for having intercourse with my girlfriend in my own apartment when we're both 26 years of age? So, I, 26 male, live with my girlfriend, 26 female, in an apartment that I pay for. We've been together for 3 years, and our relationship is great. We're both working professionals, fully independent, and like any normal couple, we even have an active sex life. Enter my mother, 54 female. She's always been a little overbearing, but since I moved out when I started dating my girlfriend, I thought things had gotten better. Apparently, I was wrong. Last weekend, my mom came over to drop off some homemade food, which was nice, I'll give her that. I had told her she could stop by after 4 p.m. since my girlfriend and I were having a lazy morning. But of course she decided to show up 2 hours early with her spare key, which she has for emergencies. Well, my girlfriend and I were in the bedroom, clearly busy, when we heard my mother banging on the bedroom door. She was shouting my name and saying things like, "I know what you're doing in there," and "have some respect." I scrambled to throw on some clothes, went out, and asked her what the heck she was doing here unannounced. She started yelling at me about how it was disgusting and inappropriate to be doing that while guests are over. I reminded her that 1. This is my apartment. 2. She wasn't supposed to be here yet. 3. We're 2 consenting adults. She was having none of it. She called me disrespectful, said I had no manners, and even told my girlfriend that she should be ashamed, which WTF. My girlfriend just walked out of the room, grabbed her keys and left, because she wasn't dealing with that nonsense. I ended up arguing with my mom for 10 more minutes, before telling her to leave and return the spare key. She refused at first, but I stood my ground until she finally handed it over. She left in a huff and later texted me, saying she was deeply disappointed in how I spoke to her. Now my dad and sister are both telling me I was too harsh and that I shouldn't have put her in that situation. I argued that she put herself in that situation by showing up unannounced and barging into my home. Have some respect. LMAO, the hypocrisy, not the a-hole. UOP can reply that since your mother disrespected your home, your space, and your girlfriend, you expect an apology from her. You are an adult, an independent one, yet she treats you like a 10-year-old. Stand your ground now, otherwise she will waltz all over you and your girlfriend. Exactly. If she wants to talk about respect, it goes both ways. She disrespected your space, your relationship, and your boundaries. If anything, she owes you an apology, not the other way around. Stand firm now, or she'll keep pushing limits in the future. Not the a-hole. You gave your mother a set time to visit, and she disregarded it. Besides, what you do in your own house is none of her business. Seriously, I've had spare keys to friends' houses for emergencies, or because they tended to be forgetful with their keys and I didn't mind being a backup storage for emergency keys. I've shown up early before because I knew or thought they were just hanging out beforehand. You knock or ring the bell, or these days, text as well. It would never even occur to me to use the key to let myself in, unless it was like an hour after our meeting time, their car was there, lights were on, etc. Essentially worrying that they'd had a medical event or something crazy. Whether OP's mom was looking to catch them doing something, or she was genuinely shocked while wanting to surprise him, she's immature, has poor emotional regulation, and firmly belongs to the camp of "you're my child, I don't ever owe you respect." The rest of OP's family is either getting a false story, or just plainly wants to give in to keep the peace with what is clearly a deeply annoying woman. I bet they don't want to deal with her tantrums, and are trying to get OP to apologize so they don't have to be around her in that kind of mood. I'm guessing they try to pacify her, aka enable, just to make their lives easier. Next story. Am I the a-hole for unintentionally causing my co-worker's marriage to implode? I, 32 male, need to know if I'm the villain here. 2 to 3 years ago, I worked the shifts with a married co-worker, Crystal, 33 female, who has a husband and a kid. Because it was always just the two of us consistently available for shifts, over months, she'd vent to me daily about her marital issues, fights, resentment, petty drama. I stayed neutral, even defended her husband every time. No flirting, no texting outside work, never shared my own problems. It was strictly one-sided, and no, there was never any physical contact. Then during one shift, I snapped and opened up about my abusive fiancé, now ex. That morning when I was clearly looking stressed, Crystal asked, "What do you do to relieve stress?" I responded bluntly with, "Jerk off," while walking away. Not a great answer. Later in the afternoon, she asked why I was still upset, and I vented vaguely. Her response was, "Why don't we have fun tonight?" "You're stressed. I'm stressed too with him." Man, she propositioned me for an affair. I shut that down immediately, but later that night, she texted a photo of herself in a see-through nightgown where her private parts were clearly visible, saying, "Maybe you need one," and asking if I was alone. I replied, "Are you crazy?" and ignored it. The next day, her husband found out. Turns out, she sent the picture as revenge because he had been texting his ex, and his ex sent a photo, but not as revealing as the one she sent to me. Her excuse? He did it first. Now her marriage is in shambles. Her husband, whom I collaborated with and respected, is humiliated and barely speaks to me. Co-workers are gossiping about her, but some think I was too friendly with her. Here's why I might be the a-hole. I let her trauma dump on me for months non-stop. Maybe I enabled emotional intimacy that crossed lines? I vented about my ex once, which she unknowingly used to justify her advance. Her marriage has never been the same again, and I feel indirectly responsible. But I also think I never flirted, encouraged her, or crossed boundaries. She chose to cheat, and I rejected her immediately. Was I just being a decent listener, even though I'm not sure I should have been? Or did I screw up by not shutting her down sooner? So, did I destroy a marriage? Edit. A Redditor suggested I might be the reason her husband texted his ex. That makes sense. For months, she vented to me, and at some point, she may have become comfortable and started comparing her husband to me. Perhaps he became jealous and sought revenge by texting his ex. Furthermore, I don't know all the details, but Crystal previously told me he cheated on her while she was pregnant, and then she retaliated by texting her ex. Her ex then sent nostalgic photos of them in bed. God, it's like an endless cycle of revenge cheating. Now for the top comments. You can't be blamed for her actions, not the a-hole. While true, be careful about talking with a coworker about jerking off. That could easily lead to trouble. I never intended to tease. I genuinely do that whenever I'm stressed, and when I'm stressed, I get pretty blunt. I never thought she would take it so far. Her decisions are on her. You were just an outlet, not a culprit. And you clearly shut down any attempts at intimacy. Nah, her marriage was already down the hopper. First rule of Fight Club, don't talk about your marital issues to your coworker. Tyler Durden probably. But seriously, you may have unknowingly enabled her to cross boundaries, but ultimately, it was her choice to cheat. Don't beat yourself up too much. Just make sure to learn from this situation. I mean, I am friends/friendly with a lot of my colleagues. We talk about our relationship, romantic, friendly, familial issues often, but amazingly enough, we have never propositioned each other afterward. Last story. Am I the a-hole? My boyfriend goes on walks for 5 to 7 hours and doesn't communicate where he is. Me, 36 female, and my boyfriend, 37 male, have been together for 5 years. He has extreme anxiety and panic attacks and will take long walks to calm down, which I am supportive of. On numerous occasions, these walks have turned into other adventures, and he doesn't update me. I have woken up at 3 a.m., 5 a.m., or even 8 a.m. the next morning to find him still not home. After worried and frantic calls, he will reluctantly answer and make me out to be unreasonable and controlling. The places I have located him at after hours of no contact include numerous bars that are closed, a hotel across town with random people, friends' houses I do not know, breakfast and drinks with strangers, a 55-year-old woman's house having a heart-to-heart, and parties with strangers he met on his walk. Am I the a-hole for being worried and angry when he doesn't communicate where he is going, or if his walks turn into hangouts with friends? I think it's extremely disrespectful, but he says I'm being controlling. My ex-husband did this exact same thing. He'd blame his mental health for needing to go on a walk and clear his head at the most random times, day, afternoon, evening, middle of the night, gone for hours. Wouldn't answer the phone, tell me where he was, or where he'd been. He was having an affair. You beat me to it. My ex-wife would do the same thing, claim she was having a panic attack, needed to clear her head, needed to calm down, needed to go on a drive, etc., and would disappear for hours at a time. Sure enough, she was living a full-blown second life with a girlfriend. Being gone for hours at a time like this is a huge red flag. Good Lord, you sweet summer child. Your boyfriend is stepping out on you for many and apparently varied adventures, none of which you should be putting up with. Having a heart-to-heart with some random woman, they were putting body parts together, but it was not their hearts. If you stay with him even one more day, you're the a-hole. People can't honestly be this clueless, can they? Hope y'all but has to read what she wrote. Not the a-hole. These supposed walks ending in unlikely to actually be random places are not about him preventing panic attacks. There's a lot more deception going on than you think, and his defensiveness and comments about your perfectly reasonable, normal questions/worries being too controlling are another tip-off. Affairs, addiction, does it matter? Because bottom line, he's not being honest and is gaslighting you. Red flags. He's not acting like a healthy partner at all, and he doesn't seem like he even cares to be one. Your instincts are sounding alarms. You already know this is not in your head. Yeah, the panic attacks are a red herring. There is no medically accepted treatment for anxiety that involves the person doing absolutely whatever they want whenever they want, with zero questions or consequences. Now for the mini update. Thanks for your replies, everyone. I have been suspecting for a while that he either needs psychiatric care or has an alcohol addiction, or both. He hasn't been listening to me, and I needed the help of a bunch of strangers on the internet to feel confident in addressing his need for mental health care. I wanted to have this written thread as a backup, to show him that I'm not being unreasonable and that this is a big issue.